Hi, welcome back to SouFLoTV again, everybody. It is your host with the most. Here is one that I find very interesting. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, please. So, the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has resigned. But check this out. It must be really rough being a Prime Minister in Great Britain because he's not the first. The other two before him, they also resigned. Scandal-ridden British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, under mounting pressure to step down on Thursday, announced his decision after days of high-profile government registration and calls from his fellow Conservative Party members to quit. Get out. We don't want you leading us anymore. In the past few weeks, I have been trying to convince my colleagues, this is what he said, I've been trying to convince my colleagues that it would be eccentric or crazy to change government when we have achieved so much, he said in a speech outside number 10 Downing Street. Now, while he was giving his speech, there was a whole lot of boos going on. Boo, boo, from a crowd that was gathered nearby. He kept on speaking though. He said, I regret not to be successful in those arguments, and of course, it's painful not to be able to see through those projects myself. Johnson also said that he planned to remain as the Prime Minister until someone else is chosen. This move right here is getting a whole lot of increasingly hostile feedback from Parliament. They want him out. He becomes the third consecutive Prime Minister to resign before their term in recent years, following in the footsteps of Theresa May and David Cameron. They all did the same thing. Months of discontent, unhappiness over Johnson's judgment and his ethics within his governing party erupted with the resignation of Treasury Chief Rishi Sunak and Health Secretary Sajid Javid within minutes of each other. Within minutes of each other, the health secretary resigned. Damn. And the treasury chief resigned. The final straw for them was the prime minister's shifting explanation about his handling of sexual misconduct allegations within the Conservative Party's ranks. That was the final straw for them. Calls for Johnson's resignation had only intensified in the hours that followed, during which more than 50 other members of the government also resigned. So it's like the British government was collapsing on that side. The embattled Prime Minister had few friends left in the final hours before his announcement, with even ministers he had appointed 36 hours ago turning against him. Yo, politics is no joke. Listen, man. Even ministers that he himself had appointed 36 hours ago turned against him in the last minute. Before his announcement on Thursday, Johnson was abandoned by the finance minister and the education minister that he had promoted. He promoted them in a bid to hold on to power. He figured if he promoted them, then they would definitely have his back. A favor for a favor. Well, they took the promotion and they turned against him. 36 hours before, they were joined by a succession of other ministers, leaving the government virtually empty as it faces some of its most serious crisis in decades. He said, yesterday I made clear to the Prime Minister, alongside my colleagues in number 10, that's number 10 Downing Street, that there was only one direction where this was going, and that he should leave with dignity. This is what the newly appointed Chancellor Nadhim Zahawi wrote in an open letter that was actually published on Twitter on Thursday. Here's the thing. He says, I'm heartbroken, and he hasn't listened, and that he is now undermining the incredible achievement of this government at his late hour. Prime ministers are not directly elected by voters. For those of you who didn't know this, listen. Prime ministers are not elected by voters. They are chosen to lead that party. As such, Johnson needs the support of his fellow Conservative Party members in order for him to stay in power. And with the majority of them turning their backs on him, even the two that he had promoted 36 hours before announcing his resignation turned on him. He survived a non-confidence vote by his party last month in which a bruising 41% of its lawmakers voted to get him out of there. That followed the scandal that they call Partygate. Go look up Partygate, which saw Johnson fined by the police, slammed by the investigator report over lockdown breaching parties he and his aides held during the COVID pandemic. So in a time when he was telling people, stay in your yard, you can't even visit your family, and if you did and we caught you, you were going to prison or jail or whatever, he himself was having these lockdown parties. Other ministers urged the need to secure functioning government in the midst of this crisis, which left a slew of government departments without ministers to lead them. All this over pandemic parties. It's our duty to make sure the people of this country have a functioning government, said Senior Minister Michael Ellis in the House of Commons before Johnson's announcement. His sentiments were echoed by the political opposition. He needs to go quickly. Someone said he needs to go completely. None of this nonsense about clinging on for a few more months and waiting until someone else is chosen to replace you. Go now. He inflicted lies, fraud, and chaos in this country. We are stuck with a government which isn't functioning in the middle of the cost of living crisis. Labour Party leader Keir Starmer told Sky News. Other ministries, however, had believed that they had the obligation to stay put, not abandon their post, as they're needed to serve the people. A number of us have an obligation to keep this country safe, so I'm not going anywhere, no matter who is the PM. The party has a mechanism to change leaders, and that is the mechanism which I advise our colleagues to use. In the meantime, the public would not forgive us if we left these offices of state completely empty. Defense Minister Ben Wallace wrote in a tweet that he published as well. Shout out to NBC News for the rundown on this one. Gives a clear understanding of what is taking place and why Boris Johnson is resigning from power, but as did the other two prime ministers before him. I want my British people to leave some comments under the comment section and tell me what is really going on, because recently I was told about Brexit and I was told that there are jobs everywhere and the economy was booming and things were looking up coming out of the pandemic and all this other stuff, and then to see him, Boris Johnson, the prime minister, ousted from power. What's going on, Britain? I'll catch y'all on the next video. It's SouFLoTV. I'm out. Peace.
Here you have it, family, your pineapple grilled pork chops. It's all nice and flaky, very flaky. When you make your crust, it have to be flaky like this.
All right, my SouFLoTV audience, listen. If you have not found out about this channel yet and subscribed to this channel and started following this channel called Eat Good TV, I suggest that you go do so now. I did not even know that sweet potatoes can make a punch. I did not know that bammies can make burgers. I have never had pineapple pork before. I'm not even that good of a pork eater. But after seeing this lady, Miss Margaret, over at Eat Good TV, do the pineapple pork, me I tell you, say, I wanted to try the pineapple pork. Listen, man, she is setting the bar high, all right? And if you're into Jamaican food, I know you might be able to cook it already, but I guarantee you, you're not cooking it like she's cooking it. She is adding a twist to it. So, Miss Margaret, big up yourself over at Eat Good TV and SouFLoTV audience. If you're seeing this, please go find Eat Good TV and click that link and tell her I sent you.